What if you had instant analytics on your PDP images and a faster way to create content that performs better? That's what we're diving into in today's episode, how top brands and retailers are using analytics and automation to stay ahead across retail media and the digital shelf. It's Rapid helps teams scale smarter. They analyze image performance, they help you create optimized assets for retail media networks and the digital shelf, and they integrate directly with PIM and DAM systems for seamless execution. Brands like Pepsi, Mondelez, and Instacart use its Rapid to go beyond basic tools to uncover gaps in PDP and retail media performance by analyzing the images themselves, not just the count. Streamline banner creation across hundreds of formats for Amazon Ads, Walmart Connect, and other retail and social platforms, and launch high-performing content more than 80% faster across e-commerce and marketing channels. If you're buried in manual work or struggling to keep up, this episode and It's Rapid will show you a better way. Visit itsrapid.ai to learn more.
Welcome to Beyond the Shelf with Dave Feinlieb. This show is an open exploration of the people and process behind e-commerce. Through conversations with innovators in the space, we learn the stories of these leaders and their strategies for e-commerce success. We publish new episodes every Tuesday morning, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Dave Feinlieb. Dave's guest this week is Chris Riedy, Chief Revenue Officer at Ibotta, where he's leading revenue growth and brand partnerships for one of the most innovative players in performance marketing. Ibotta has partnered with over 2,400 brands and leading retailers like Walmart to deliver measurable incremental sales, something every brand is chasing in today's crowded market. With deep insight into how consumer behavior evolves around seasonal moments like Valentine's Day, Easter, and Mother's Day, Ibotta helps brands connect with shoppers when and where it matters most. With more than 2 decades of experience across advertising, media, and technology, Chris has built and scaled global sales organizations that connect brands with consumers through data, creativity, and storytelling. Before joining Ibotta, he served as CRO at TV Scientific, helping brands harness connected TV as a measurable performance channel, and spent over a decade at Twitter in senior leadership roles, including VP of Global Sales and Marketing, VP of EMEA, and Managing Director of U.S. Sales. At Ibotta, Chris is helping brands and retailers unlock the power of the Ibotta Performance Network, a platform that distributes rewards, offers, and media placements across a vast network of retailers and publishers, creating a unified bridge between promotions, retail media, and shopper engagement. Please enjoy Dave's conversation with Chris Riedy.
Chris, welcome to the show.
David, good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Take us back. How'd you get your start in the space?
I have been doing kind of digital direct to consumer on the media and on the product side for really the entirety of my career. And I spent a lot of time in the 2000s kind of trying to figure out what functional skill or what functional area I wanted to work in. And I led some product organizations, I led some business development organizations, and those were both really fun. I had an opportunity in 2012 to join Twitter and to take a sales leadership role. And that has really kept me on this revenue leadership track for, the last almost 15 years. And I think the thing that really stuck for me is that revenue leadership, it is sales, but you also have to appreciate the product side of the business, the marketing side of the business, kind of business development, maybe a more complex deal. And so my background really came in and fit nicely together. And I just feel super fortunate to do what I do because I get to work with great people, both internally and externally with our customers.
I love it. It must give you tons of empathy with both the internal teams and the customers that you talk to, having all this other background in your past.
I think you're absolutely right. And that, building trust, I talk to my team a lot about trust and service. And service sometimes does not feel like this very durable or shiny object thing. But the reality is we all work with people that we appreciate, or at least we want to work with people that we appreciate, that we feel good around, and that we trust, and that challenge us. And so you're right that understanding somebody's perspective, even when it doesn't really meet your needs, it allows you to be a better partner. And I think that is the unlock for great business success. It's like being a great partner, and it absolutely did help me.
Now, for our listeners, many of whom may not be in a sales role, and they always think to themselves, "Oh, sales, I don't know. I don't think I could ever do that role." Um, any words of wisdom, like for you, it's maybe a natural thing, but how to think about connecting with the customer and doing that revenue leadership role.
Sure, sure. So, I at its core, sales is problem solving.
Hmm.
And I think there are at least two very distinct types of sales. There's a kind of a selling of a product that somebody has to buy time and time again. If you're at Starbucks and you're behind the register, somebody's gonna buy the coffee. That's the way it's gonna work. But if you're in a business like mine, or digital media business, or a consulting type of practice where there's lots of choice,
Yeah.
you really have to be able to match the need of the customer with the solution you provide. And you have to be willing sometimes to say, we don't have the right solution for you right now, because that comes back to that trust thing. If I sell you something that you don't need, you will not trust me. And that's why I think about it from a problem solving capacity. What do you need right now? Help me understand that. Don't just tell me, can I buy this thing from you? And then let me think about the suite or the solutions that we bring forward. And is there something that overlaps? And when there is, hopefully you get this win-win situation where somebody buys something, but it helps them. And then they go talk to their boss and they say, this has been a great win for us. That's enduring, that's durable revenue partnership. So sales can be scary because it's like, oh, I have to ask for the money. But if you've found the need, you're solving someone's problem. You're making them happy. You're not taking from them.
Yeah, great insights. Chris, tell us what you're up to today. You're at Ibotta, great role, great company. Tell us about the company and the role.
I joined Ibotta almost a year ago, so I'm about 11 months in. I met Brian Leach, our founder and CEO, last fall, and I didn't know a lot about the company at the time. And Brian is this incredibly compelling. I don't know if I would say larger than life, but the guy is just, he'll win you over. And he has this amazing drive and vision. And what he shared with me at the time was that his vision for where Ibotta could go was really to become the performance marketing engine for all things packaged goods. And at the time, I didn't totally understand how that could come to fruition. But once I learned a little bit more about it, I jumped at the opportunity to join the company. I lead the revenue organization, which consists of traditional sales and account management, all of our B2B marketing practice, revenue operations strategy, that kind of stuff. All centered around how do we go to market and how do we talk to the customer. A lot of that stuff we were speaking of earlier. And then on the Ibotta side, like just to give a little arc, narrative arc of the business, where it's been and where it's going, it really centers on this kind of triad of consumer, manufacturer, and retailer. And when you pull those things together effectively, good things happen. The first version of Ibotta was really about helping the consumer find value. The company built this really cool mobile app called Ibotta. You can find it in any of the app stores. 50 million of you have found it along the way. And that enabled you to download the app and say, I'm going to be shopping at Target or I'm going to be shopping at Walmart. And you could see a gallery of offers. Really nice little business, and drove value. Again, 50 million downloads. I think we've given away about $2.5 billion of cashback rewards. So that worked.
So
The
you mean
challenge,
little there in quotes?
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Just
Yeah,
making sure.
yeah, technical term. So that was an interesting business and one that was thriving. But one of the challenges in that mobile app ecosystem is that you are constrained by how many people you can not only get to download your app, but remember that they actually have the app on their phone. Whereas if you can show up where the consumer shops, i.e., I'm in the search results at Walmart or I'm in the search results at Family Dollar or DoorDash, just easier, right? So the kind of second version of Ibotta focused on the retailer. And that really, we started to do partnerships with Walmart, Family Dollar, Dollar General, some of the delivery services like Instacart and DoorDash to just bring the same thing, a manufacturer powered offer, in front of a consumer. And that really expanded our opportunity because we went from millions of users inside of our app to really hundreds of millions of American shopping opportunities. So that worked great. We're now entering this thing that I call the third, these are my words, but the kind of the third life cycle or the third stage in the business. And that's really focused on the manufacturer. So the manufacturer says, yep, let's give $2 off, or let's give $1 off if you buy two. And what we really have to do for that group, if you're going to make it a performance marketing platform, you have to prove that it works. And works for us means drives an incremental revenue impact. Not just it drives your revenue, because if you're going to give somebody a promotion, a coupon, they should want to buy it more often. But we want to show that that is actually driving a step function incremental change. And so we're spending a lot of time right now from a software development standpoint, focusing on how do we measure incremental sales? How do we prove that that's happening? And from there, how do we give you the opportunity as the manufacturer and the marketer to optimize the behavior, just like you would if you were a mobile app company? Very easy to do that inside of Facebook or TikTok or anywhere else. So that's kind of this trinity of you meet the consumer, get them at the retailer. Okay, that's great. Now, how do we help the manufacturers of the world see that this is real value creation and not some sort of subsidization that would have happened anyways? Because if I'm honest, before I knew about the company, I didn't appreciate that promotions and coupons could be incremental revenue drivers.
Right. You think of them as a discount.
That's right. And I'll take it if I get it. And some of the stores you go to, you temp in your number and they're like, you got $4 off.
Right.
I guess I appreciate that. What we're doing here is really working with the manufacturer to, help the consumer find it in their shopping journey. So there's that cause and effect. I'm searching for toothpaste. I then see some manufacturers that have toothpaste. I know those manufacturers. We want to give each of them, all of them, the opportunity to say, here's $1 off or here's $2 off. And we want to do that intelligently so that the shopper connects that dot that, okay, in this instance, manufacturer A is $2 off. Okay, I'm going to give it a try. That's what we're working towards. And that's what, I wasn't aware, but now I am very aware that you could measure incremental sales here and show the impact. And I couldn't be more excited about it.
So if I read you right, if I'm a consumer, this is a way to save me some money, maybe create some awareness of some products I might not know about. And if I'm a manufacturer and I'm selling these goods, this is a way to reach that consumer base. But to your point, drive incremental revenue when I'm doing that.
That's exactly right. And think about marketing the stack. You got to drive awareness. You got to pull through to this consideration. We all know the funnel. And then you want to drive a transaction at the bottom. We are purpose built to help you drive the transaction, and our business model is predicated on that. We don't make any money until that toothpaste is sold. So if we don't intelligently help you with the offer, if we don't make sure the right user sees it, we're not going anywhere. So we like that, and we also think it's of critical importance, again, just to help the consumer, when they're actually doing the shopping, not like I went to the store, let me upload a receipt and see what happens. People do that, but that's not really changing shopping behavior. That's rewarding a bit of loyalty, which is nice. We want to change behavior.
Give us a sense of scale. You're working with one brand, two brands, five brands?
We've got a couple thousand customers that we're working with.
By the way, I knew the answer just to, right.
We have a couple thousand customers that we're working with. But so if you think about our business, we're US based. We've actually have a lot of folks that say, hey, you want to come into this market or that market? There's so much work for us to do in the United States. And there are so many of us shopping every day that we are very, very focused there. And we work with, again, all kind of fast moving, grocery related packaged goods companies, the biggest in the world we're working with. And we're also working with kind of the upstart challenger brands that we seem to see in every one of our grocery stores or every TikTok that you may view. And what we want to be is the right solution for either of them. Because again, if you're a startup brand and you need to just get some momentum going, okay, great. Let's help you do that. And don't have some onerous, you got to spend certain amounts of money to be able to work with us. And then at the same time, you could be a manufacturer, that maybe have 11 core units with 60 brands underneath of it. And it is a true behemoth. And we've got to work with each of your brands individually because, some of these companies, they own paper towel brands and toothpaste. And those are just different businesses that we need to speak to, like you said earlier, empathetically, because they just have different needs and we need to meet them.
100%. So take me through a conversation. I meet you. I say, Chris, I've got a new brand, a new product. I'm bringing it to market. What does that look like? How do we work together? It's Dave's toothpaste, although that probably is already a thing, but we'll roll.
I actually think it might be. I think Dave
Dave's
may have a
toothpaste
toothpaste. Maybe Dave's sparkling water. Maybe he's
Dave's
breaking
sparkling
through.
water. Let's go with that. Yeah.
So here's the first thing that I want to understand. I want to understand where you are in your business life cycle. Are you in a moment where you have to gain share, or are you in a moment where you've actually hit some, ceiling of share? Now you really want to dial the economics. That's the first key question that I want to understand. From there, what I want to do is help you appreciate that when you, let's say your margin on that can of sparkling water, let's say you have a 30% margin, and let's say a 6-pack costs, for simple math, $5. So you're making $1.50 on that. If you're going to run a promotion with me, it's got to cost less than that for you. The question now is, are you willing to, if you're in that scale side of the business, you may say, look, Chris, I got $1.50 to play with here, and I'm willing to spend all of it because I want to stand out against my competitors. Because when I go into a grocery store, I see 10 to 20 different brands of sparkling water, and I need to stand out. So I would say, okay, let me take that into consideration. I'd work with our team to say, we think this is the right offer variant. So this is the right discount and the right buy 1 6-pack or buy 2 6-packs, such that you'll drive the most scale possible. And then we'll keep it within that bound. We'll keep it in that, $1.50 of space that you have. That would be one way. Another way, you'd say, okay, Chris, this thing's going well. I'm doing pretty well. I feel very satisfied, and I'm going to go invest in a new business. So I've now gone from toothpaste to sparkling water, and now I'm going to barbecue sauce. But I need that sparkling water business. I still need it to stand out. So help me appreciate how I can only give you 30 cents in that instance, of the $1.50 that might be around. I can only give you 30 cents. How many units could I move then? And why don't we just as long as you stay inside of that constraint, I'm good to go, because I know that it's profitable. I know that it's working well for me. But I'm going to go now figure out this barbecue sauce business where I got to do awareness driving, consideration driving. So I need to shift my marketing dollars. And that's really how we want to talk to our customers, because each of them are in this moment where I got to drive scale, or I've got this heritage brand that just needs to stand out, but it's really about profitability right now. And we want to give you the opportunity to almost, if you think about like a lever, where this moment in time, I might need to dial it back. This moment in time, I might need to dial it up. And as we know, it's never so easy as just one or the other of those things. There's seasonal moments where obviously in one, we just finished one, we're approaching another one where you've got to stand out. And then there's times where, oh gosh, people aren't shopping as much, so we have to compel them to do that. And it's really trying to think through almost like a rule-based engine where you say, these are the goals. We turn those into rules, if you will. And then it allows you just feel comfortable that you can market inside of the goals and the constraints that we've put forward. And, if it works, you keep doing it. And sometimes, like, who knows, maybe we think a lot of people are going to buy the sparkling water and it turns out they don't. You just, again, back to our business model, you're only paying us when something happens, and you could stop any time, like any kind of performance marketing business. which is, if you think about coupons from 10 years ago, you got to buy the paper, you got to print the stuff, you got to send it to somebody. You're sunk. Your cost is out there,
Yeah.
and we just don't think that's the right way to do it. And that's where this, the digital side of this becomes so powerful.
This episode of Beyond the Shelf is brought to you by It's Rapid. It's Rapid is the platform Pepsi, Mondelez, Instacart, and hundreds of other leading brands and retailers use to build personalized content at scale. Whether that's images, videos, or product descriptions for their product detail pages, shoppable videos or banners for their digital ad campaigns, or sell sheets for sales enablement, brands that use It's Rapid are able to produce high-quality, on-brand content on average more than 80% faster than category competitors. To find out more, please visit itsrapid.ai.
What are you seeing working in the market? Any exciting new creative formats, brands? Maybe we can't talk about them by name, but what's on your radar?
I'll tell you a couple things that stand out to me. The first is CPGs, packaged goods companies, historically have not had the ability to do performance marketing because it's been hard to get at the data. And I'm just impressed with, not in every building I walk into, but in some of these buildings, they get it. And they see this more like, a retailer or direct consumer business did 15 years ago. When Facebook was starting dynamic product ads, I was at Twitter and we were doing something similar. You could just do this cause and effect thing where you could connect the dots really easy and you weren't guessing anymore. And I'm just impressed with the CPGs that are out there that are saying, how do we think about this differently? How do we think about bringing more data in to be able to compel our consumers in an effective way? And they know how big of a challenge it is. Consumer wants value. There's more choice than you've ever been able to think of. And so it's hard to stand out. So the first thing is just like the marketer or the business person that's willing to say, okay, well, let's try something new. I would say that's thing one. Thing two that's standing out to me right now, and we don't have a lot of scale of doing this, but we're starting to talk to more, let me say this differently, starting to talk to other platforms about how do we take the promotion. Again, if you do this search for toothpaste right now at walmart.com, you'll see some manufacturers showing up with offers. And it shows up in the search results, shows up on the product detail page. That's great. What I'm starting to get questions from other businesses is how do we pull that offer into their ad creative that might be on another social platform? It might be on a CTV platform. It definitely is within that retail media. So if you're in Walmart and you've got that promotion running inside a search and you are on the homepage, you want it to show up there. So what I've been hearing a lot of, and really from this summer forward, is there a way for us to partner where the Ibotta offer, which once was in the app and now it's propagating to our retail partners, and we love that, and we'll continue to work with more retailers as we can. But now it's like, could we pull it into CTV and
in the actual video,
in the CTV ad? That's right. So it's like you're brushing your teeth, you're feeling great, you're drinking Dave's water, you're feeling great, and it's just like a simple overlay of, how about Dave, could get 50 cents off on Dave's water right now. That feels like where we're trying to go in the whole ecosystem of full funnel marketing. Now, there's a time and a place to drive brand awareness, and trying to squish it all together is not the right thing all the time. There's plenty of creative agency people out there will say, absolutely, you're right. And I don't want to be the determiner of when it should or shouldn't. The question is, how can we just continue to help the consumer appreciate that this offer, the value that the brand wants to give back to you, is available, such that can inform, it's really kind of consideration down to purchase. And that's exciting stuff. It's a frontier that's still out there. We're just having early conversations, and we have enough work to do right now where we're just trying to, satisfy the work that's on our plate. But those are some interesting things that I think are out there.
Those are great. I love where you're headed with this because you've kind of connected the dots through the whole surface area of where I might be shopping, all the way to the creative part. So that's super interesting. Well, Chris, no conversation these days is complete without AI, or at least talking about AI. Uh, what are you seeing day to day? I think what our listeners probably want to know is like, what are you seeing that's working in a practical sense?
Okay. At its most basic, every one of us should be using, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini or any of them, we should be using them on a daily basis just to start getting comfortable asking questions. Literally this morning, I'm working on trying to get my 18-year-old to take a quick vacation with me over the holiday break. And I am literally just working with one of those services saying, okay, what about this neighborhood? Okay, give me this type of hotel, these dinner reservations. So like, that's not work per se, but it is, again, probably problem solving. And I think just we need to get comfortable with this stuff because my kids are very comfortable with it and the workers of the future. So that's thing one. How do we make all of ourselves better just in like our day-to-day habits? Thing two that I would say is like, it comes down to this artificial intelligence / machine learning. Um, it it's some grandiose things may happen. Maybe we will cure diseases. Maybe we will travel further into space. But in a simple marketing construct, it's like, how do we learn more quickly? And how do we learn more intelligently? And so we really think about it from instead of doing you and I coming up with the experiment for the toothpaste or the water. Okay, I think it should be $1. Maybe it should be 75 cents. Well, what if it doesn't? How about we just change that and say, hey, machine, how much toothpaste have we seen sold over the last 18 months? What are the dynamics of that? What's the price point? What's the products? What does it say? And then how can we put some experiments into the world that will start testing that? Google and Facebook and many others have been doing this for a while. And it's really that acceleration that I think is the most tangible, available, and really important today because great marketers are doing that constantly. And great platforms are enabling that constantly. We're fortunate because we have a lot of American consumer shopping data. That shopping data allows us to not guess our way between $1 and 75 cents, but actually come up with a high confidence prediction. And then you just go run a few of these things. It's not like you're right with $1, I'm right with 75 cents.
Let's just see what works.
Let's see. And that test and learn framework, I think it's available. People are using it. We're using it from a promotion standpoint, and that's a little different than how promotions have worked in the past. And I think those two sides, like me and you, make our emails better, ask better questions to, like that kind of just day-to-day tactical stuff. And then the second thing it's not some like, again, we're going to go to Mars or we're going to cure a disease. That may be out there. I sure hope those cool things happen, but there's stuff that we can do today. And I think making it tangible is really, really important.
Chris, these are great insights. I could go on with you all day, multiple podcast sessions, but I got to wrap it up. So my last question, and then I'll give you the rapid rundown. But looking ahead, what excites you most about where performance marketing is headed next?
So, I think that we've been doing performance marketing for a long time. I mean, even think about coupons years ago when they showed up in the newspaper. It is performance marketing. Direct mail has been around for a long time. The thing that excites me is just winnowing down how long it takes to figure out what's working. When you put something in the mail and then you see somebody go to the store and then you get the receipt data, it takes a long time. And if you look at the opposite end of that spectrum, if you launch a mobile app and you market it, you can figure out very quickly what your cost per install is. And then did that installer actually become a user, et cetera, et cetera. So just continuing to winnow that down. And in the world of consumer packaged goods, we just want to help make the consumer packaged goods marketer as effective as the mobile app marketer. And that comes back to data and having access to data to make intelligent predictions, to do intelligent measurement, to be very transparent with said measurement. And we're having a great time working on it. Innovation is fun. It's hard, but it's super fun. So that's what I'm stoked about.
So great. All right, Chris, the rapid rundown, a few fast-paced questions, just your quick thoughts. First off, a marketing trend you think is underrated right now.
Man, I'm just going to say what we talked about earlier: empathy, appreciation, building trust. Like, you're building trust with the consumer at all times. Consumers are smart today. They go to ChatGPT, they go to Gemini and say, what should I be buying? Why should I be buying that? Build trust with your user base, build great service, whatever that product is, whatever you're saying you have. That, I think, never goes away. It's very durable.
What is a buzzword that needs to go away?
Oh, I don't think it's fair to say AI, but I think we right now are in this moment where everybody says they have the exact same thing. Everybody has AI. Everybody has machine learning. Everybody can deliver an outcome. Everybody's got the same thing. Companies that 2 years ago were, bottom of the page advertising networks now are performance marketing networks. And I think that the key thing there for the manufacturer, I have empathy here. A lot of people show up and say, I can do all this stuff for you. The key that I would say is ask questions. Okay, how can you do that? What is the data that you have? And educate yourself to understand what are the true unique enablers of any of this stuff. It'll make you better.
At the end of a crazy day or week, how do you like to unwind?
Family and friends. Super, super simple. I'm fortunate right now that I work really hard and then I come home, live in California and spend time with my wife. I've got a 15-year-old son who's very deep in the Northern California high school football playoffs, which is proving to be very exciting for our family. And that's it for us. I do this because I like it, and I also do it because I've got a really cool family, and spending time with them and our community is very important to me.
Chris, I learned so much. I got to tell you, one of your great gifts is just this ability to take this really complex stuff. Like, how do I think about sales? Well, easy. Let me just distill it down to a couple things I can think of. How do I think about AI in my day-to-day? Well, let me just simplify for you a couple things to think about. So you're really truly gifted on that. So thanks for sharing that with me and our listeners. If our listeners would like to get in touch, what's the best way for them to do that?
I'm Chris.Riedy, Riedy at Ibotta.com. Love to hear from you.
All right. Thanks for joining me here today on Beyond the Shelf.
David, thanks so much. Appreciate the kind words. Really nice to spend some time with you, and best of luck.
That's it for this week's episode of Beyond the Shelf. If you enjoy the show, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. It really helps us grow. And feel free to share us with your colleagues so they too can hear weekly perspectives from the brightest minds in e-commerce. You can also check us out on LinkedIn, where we post clips from each episode, share Dave's takes on breaking industry news, and much more. Beyond the Shelf is a production of It's Rapid. Our host is Dave Feinleib, and our producers are Sean Levy-Ashvili and Jake Musiker. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Beyond the Shelf.